A few nights ago, I was having a conversation with one of my good friends, and he was asking me, like, bro, like, why'd you move out of New York? And it kind of hit me because, for a while, it's been like 3 years since I moved out the city, but I got out of the city primarily because I wanted to get my shit together. Like, I wanted to lock in on trading, but that didn't just happen like that. So, how I came to the decision on wanting to move out of New York was based on a series of events. So, 3 years ago, I was 27. And when I was turning 27, I decided to go to Aruba all by myself for a whole weekend to celebrate my birthday, right? And I did that because at the time, I was living in the city. My birthday's in April. And around that time, the city is still relatively, cold and rainy. So I wanted to go somewhere tropical, right? And that's exactly what I did. I went to Aruba and I had an amazing time. Also, I met a girl while I was out there. She was Dutch and she was cool. Her and I had a great time. Long story short, uh, I had a cute little thing with this girl for a while, and she was someone that I ended up like following to go to the Netherlands, right? But prior to that, like she actually came to New York for a weekend, and I got to see her for a night in New York City, and that was really cool. And when I got to the Netherlands to go see her, her and I had a whole weekend together, and it was honestly like the best weekend of my life. And I would say that weekend I had with her was such a aha for me because when I was with her, I was super happy. I traveled halfway across the world to go see a girl to a country I never been to. It was also like my first time in Europe. So there was a lot of things that were kind of circulating in my head. But I think the one thing that I took out of that entire experience from seeing this girl in the Netherlands is that this is something that I just wanted to do because when I left the Netherlands, I didn't want to go back to New York City at all. Like I was just like, fuck that. Like when I was driving, 5 o'clock in the morning, I had this really nice Benz. That's a different story. Back to the airport, and I was just thinking to myself, like, dude, fuck this. Right? I want to do this all the fucking time. You feel me? And it didn't take a lot of money because at the time, like I was struggling. I was really struggling with trading as well, and I had this thought in my head like, bro, like what can I do to start living that life a bit more? Because I knew that if I kept living in New York City, I wasn't going to do that. So I decided to move out of New York City by the end of that year. And I think around that time it was like August or maybe September, some shit like that, right? And it was a bold decision in my head because I thought to myself like, if I got out of New York and I moved in with my parents and I just lock the fuck in, I can do this all the time, right? And that's what I did. So I moved out of New York City. Um, Honestly, it wasn't an easy thing. Like I loved New York. I thought it was, it's the best place in the world to live, especially if you're in your 20s. But given my situation and the circumstances I was in, for me to be a full time trader and trade like the way I wanted to, and see the world and had the experience that I had in the Netherlands, it was going to take a sacrifice, and that sacrifice was moving out of New York. And little did I know that decision would have changed my life because even though I hated moving out of New York, back in with my family, and to really lock in on trading, as much as I hated that, it was absolutely necessary because the way that I was living in New York, it wasn't conducive to my goals. Like I was living such a chaotic life. You feel me? Like I was bartending, taking care of myself. I had debt. I didn't have that much money. I was losing a lot of money from trading. So there was a lot of like chaos going on inside of my head that made it extraordinarily difficult for me to even be profitable. And mind you, I was already about 2.5 years deep into trading by then, and I still wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. So I believe moving out of New York City and back with my family was part of that process. You know what I mean? But it's hard to see those kinds of things at the time because you might be in a very familiar situation where it's like you know what you want, you know what you have to do, but it's going to require a sacrifice that you're probably not even comfortable doing. You feel me? And I feel like that's one of those things that's going to help you pay the price that's necessary to get the results that you want. And for me, that was definitely moving out of New York, moving back with my parents, bartending, saving like money and getting rid of my debt, because once I alleviated that pressure from living in a city and having all this chaotic financial pressure, that's when I actually started getting results in trading because I was able to focus on the process and not the actual profits. Okay, because a big problem that I had is that I was super outcome dependent on trading. Like, I wanted to get out of my situation. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to travel. But again, given my circumstances, living in New York, it wasn't going to happen. Okay? And I don't know where you are. Everyone's different. You feel me? I think a big problem that I'm seeing on social media is that a lot of people are always broadcasting how long it took them to get profitable, right? Which is cool, you know what I mean? It's always like a rough estimate because I get this question a lot. It's like, oh, if I get into trading now, how long is it going to take me to make some money? Bro, I don't fucking know. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't fucking know. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I thought it was going to take me like a year or maybe 2 years because that's what I saw everyone else was doing back in 2020. Everyone's like, oh, it took me like a year, maybe two. And I thought, oh, it's going to take me like 2 years. And no, actually, it fucking didn't. It took me a lot longer than that. It took me about, what, 3 to 4 years to start seeing money and 6 years where I'm at now today to actually be making that, trader money, like making four figures a day. It took me 6 fucking years. All right. That's a long time. Right. But that was just my journey. So it's tough for me to tell someone, oh, it's going to take you 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. You feel me? Like, that is completely up to you and your own journey and its own unfolding. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, you're just not gonna fucking know. And I think you have to be okay with not knowing how long this is actually gonna take you. Because I truly didn't fucking know. But you know what? I had to live in that delusion in my own head of how long this was actually gonna take. And you gotta be okay with that shit too. Stop trying to know everything up front, bro. Like, a lot of y'all went to college for 4 years to get some bullshit ass degree for a job that you're probably not even fucking doing. You feel me? So for you to come in and being like, oh, how long this is going to take me is insane, bro. Like, if you are doing what you're doing now and you did it for the next 4 years, would you get the results that you want? Probably not. So it makes sense for you to get into trading, suck this shit out, give it everything you got, and let the universe unfold the way that it has to. Okay? It might take you a lot less years. It might take you a lot more. But I think the most beautiful thing is by understanding that, like, if you give this shit all that you got, what's gonna come out the other side of it? You know what I mean? Because for me, I gave up so much shit in my life. I quit on so much shit in my life. Okay? And I knew at the point when I was moving out of New York 3 years ago, like when I was driving, out of Manhattan, had all my shit in the trunk, and I'll never forget. Like, I'm driving over the Verrazano Bridge, and if you are familiar with New York City, the Verrazano Bridge connects Brooklyn all the way, I think it was into Staten Island, and that's when you start getting out of the city. And I'll never forget driving over the bridge, and in my rearview mirror, I see like Manhattan, like fading away, and I'm just like, damn, like this shit sucks. But it was fucking necessary. It was part of the process. It was part of the journey for me to get to where I'm at right now. And on that walk, going back to what I was talking about earlier, was that sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do to get the results that you fucking want. And for me, it was moving out of New York City. It was moving back with my parents. It was, facing the reality that, like, if I kept living the life that I was living in New York, there was no way I was going to be profitable in trading. No fucking chance. Okay? So I don't know where you are, but chances are you probably know what you got to do. You just don't trust that answer yet. You feel me? So I think it takes for you to really sit down with yourself and understand, like, what it is that you want and what is it actually going to take for you to get that end result. So you might have to move out. You might have to get another roommate. You might have to get another job. You might have to sacrifice going out. You might have to sacrifice taking girl on dates and shit like that to save you money. Get yourself out of a shitty situation. You feel me? I don't know, but you do. That's the thing. You just gotta trust yourself and trust the process of your life, because you never know how things are going to unfold in your favor. Because in the moment, a lot of things could seem as if it's not working out for you, right? Because it's not what you anticipated. It's not what you planned for. It's not what your mind was even conveying when all this shit was happening. But you know what? It was happening in your favor, because that's just how life fucking works. You just have to believe in the back of your head that
no matter how bad this shit gets, it's unfolding out for me in ways like I can't even fucking imagine. And I'm telling you, that kind of mentality is gonna keep serving you a favor like it has me. It took me so long to even understand, to even fathom that kind of mindset because I'm the kind of person that has always felt like I needed to fucking control everything. I need to control every event. I need to control how people react to me because I always wanted people to like me. I've always wanted to like know what's going to happen on the other side. And you might be the same way too, but bro, you have to let that shit go and trust that everything is always working out for you, man. So believe when I say take the sacrifice, take the fucking risk. It doesn't matter, bro. Just do whatever it takes for you to get to the place that you always wanted to go. Because I promise you, it's fucking worth it. 3 years ago, I would have never guessed how to do all this shit. But you know what? It was fucking worth it. It's so worth it now. Now next week I might be able to go to France to go see my homeboy because I fucking can. Why? Because I paid that price. All right? And now it's your turn to go pay that price too.